Right, so I'm going to address this off the bat. I don't actually have a specific agenda against Jamie Carragher. I mean, do I like him? As much as I like the concept of an ingrown toenail. But he doesn't exactly rep my rival team, nor do I know him personally. And in all honesty, there are things I enormously envy him for. He made a living off something he loved, did really well for someone with a relative lack of talent, he's fluent in Welsh.
Yeah, I remember you used to go to Van Sangster and not in the train in the gym, you used to have to put your own kit on, so yeah, he's coming in Everton top.
And let's not forget, he's a multi-millionaire. And you know what? Fair enough. For that sort of money, never mind spitting on your children, I'll gladly piss on their sandcastles. But none of this changes the fact that this nauseatingly noisy northern numpty really shouldn't be on TV and has actually messed up a lot more times than you think. Let's look at 7 of those examples, which I'm trying to, and Sky Sports would certainly like me to, forget. Let's roll on. Number 7, falling for the troll baits. Oh, Jamie, you idiot. Even coming from someone who's used the guy's picture in over 70% of his thumbnails, I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement when I say that Carragher's obsession with Ronaldo is just bizarre at this point. He mentioned he was a problem for Oli, he mentioned he was a problem for Ranić, he mentioned he was a problem this season, he mentioned he'd be a problem next season, he mentioned he was a problem in articles, he mentioned he was a problem during analysis, and I believe he mentioned he was a problem to his wife when she asked why he didn't leave the toilet seat up. But what many people may not realize, however, is that the former farcically fumbly and flat-footed footballer's fascination with the face of finishing and fancy footwork actually stems from way before this past season. So in October 2016, in a game between Real Madrid and Athletic Bilbao, as a reaction to teammate Alvaro Morata scoring the winner, Ronaldo raised his arm and looked over to the linesman as if he was appealing for offside. And of course, Carragher had an opinion on this, or in other words, grass is green. He claimed that Ronaldo probably prefers individual glory over collective, and stated that he found it laughable that the then Madrid man appealed for offside. Sounds like a reasonable summary, to be honest, except it's completely wrong. Ronaldo puts his arm up and looks at the linesman not only every time a teammate scores, but sometimes even when he scores himself, to confirm it's a goal so he doesn't look like a complete knob for celebrating. Usually like a knob. Now this isn't anywhere near as serious as some of the things that we're going to get into later, but I don't think Sky Sports would really want you to remember that one of the forefront of their analysis team just casually took opinions from teenagers on Twitter and presented them on TV without, you know, actually analyzing it. Job description, mate. Read it. Number 6, he phoned a radio talk show host and threatened to beat him up. Now for something a little more serious. When Jamie Carragher retired from international football, fans worldwide gathered in unison, because as the great William Shakespeare once said, the art of not giving a fuck should never be performed alone. Someone who did seem to care, however, was football journalist and broadcaster Adrian Durham. Durham went on TalkSport and actually called out the calamitously careless and cringe clown we call Carragher for walking away from his country and labelled him a bottler. In response, Jamie called TalkSport on his way into training, threatened the journalist, offered him to come to Anfield or Melwood, say those remarks to his face, and I quote, "See what happens." Now no one likes being called a bottler, and that was admittedly a prick move, but considering JC is now on Sky Sports being far more critical of so many players, I'm not sure Sky Sports would want you to remember that Carragher himself has actually always been the type of guy who can dish out a lot more than he can actually take. And speaking of which, number 5, the spitting incident. Of course this was gonna be here. He spat on a 14-year-old girl, for crying out loud. For those of you who don't know, how can you not? I just told you. He spat on a 14-year-old girl, for crying out loud. Not that I need to explain why this was a total and utter disgrace, but here's what annoyed me personally just a little bit more about the whole thing. Had the guy been hurling personal abuse at Carragher regarding his wife and kids, his reaction would have at least been somewhat understandable. But no, the guy simply trolled him over a football result, and this melted helmet reacted by going full fucking Triple H on the guy's daughter. Unfortunately though, the displays of shamelessness do not end here. Carragher Clown then followed the disgrace on the motorway by giving a laughable apology interview on Sky, where he basically put up a cheap cheap acting display, almost as bad as his England performances. Okay, so for those who don't know, when you're in trouble with the law, you're crucially advised to emphasize on a couple of key points. Number one, what you did was out of character and was just a bad decision in the heat of the moment. And number two, show compassion for the victim and understand how it must have been like for them being on the receiving end of your attack. Go back and see him constantly repeated how he feels sorry for the 14-year-old girl more than anything and feels bad for her getting caught up in the first mess. Sorry, but I'm telling you right now, there is zero chance that this coffee mug of a human being felt anything for the victims, and dare I say, if someone would guarantee him not getting caught, he would react the same way if this happens again. Listen, I understand being a lowlife, but at least have the decency to pick on people your own age next time. Or not. Number 4, he attacked YouTubers half his age in a charity game. So the Wembley Cup was an annual football match which took place at Wembley, where there was a cup. Something like that. So in the 2016 edition, Spencer's team #United took on the Weller Wanderers led by regional state bronze medalist in the punchable face marathon, Joe Weller. Now during the match, Jumble Jamie went out of his way to constantly foul Weller and even swear at him, once clearly calling him a stupid little prick. Alright, but this wasn't even the sad part. He's also attacked Joe's innocent and all-round good guy friend Theo Baker. This guy. Carragher elbowed him on the throat quite clearly on purpose and by all accounts didn't even apologize or even address it afterwards. So not only did he get completely pantsed by a YouTuber, by the way, he reacted by elbowing that 20-year-old on the throat while he was pushing 40 and already a father of 2. That's just sad. Almost as sad as apparently boxing training every day and still losing a punch power test to a 67-year-old Graham Souness and being so butthurt that you demand a retake. Yeah, this didn't make the list, but you should really go and check it out. It was so funny. Number 3, he actually wasn't that good of a player. So, despite Carragher's personality being as clean as a family of pigs during monsoon, it's no secret that sports channels heavily favour, if not exclusively hire, former players as pundits. Here's the kicker though, Jamie Carragher was a relatively dreadful footballer. Relatively. He was still Premier League level, don't get me wrong, but for someone who spent his entire career at a club in the, or at least fighting to be in the top 4, he was comparatively garbage. He only managed to stick through because he was a local lad with big character, as well as being a utility man earlier in his career before Rafa Benitez stuck him at the back, where, by the way, he was basically what you'd get if you brought John Terry off a dodgy eBay seller with a lot of numbers on his email. That's why he was a one-club man, by the way. You can go and do your own research. No one wanted him. Number 2, he threw a coin at a crowd of spectators. So this one's for those with long memories. Highbury was a stadium notorious for being quote-unquote traditionally English, which basically means it was a bit like your nan, small, loud and unwelcoming to visitors. Brexit joke. One particular visitor who felt the wrath of the Highbury crowd was, indeed, James Lee Duncan Carragher. As a response to getting Gunners frontman Dennis Burkham sent off, an irate fan threw a coin at Carragher. Carragher then picked up said coin and launched it back. See, now this would usually be a normal reaction. So why is this so high up on the list? Well, Carragher didn't actually see who threw it. He just fired the thing back aimlessly at the supporters, where there were women and children who could have potentially been hurt. Come on. Sidebar, why does he keep attacking kids? Is this what all the boxing training is for? No wonder he got flexed by a 70-year-old. Carragher was, of course, given his marching orders and later apologised for the incident, describing it as a bad reaction in, you guessed it, the heat of the moment. What must it be like to be Jamie's children? Well, I'm assuming brilliant considering how rich he is, as long as they're not seen in public with him, of course. And speaking of being in public, number 1, contemplating an actual ambush. So Lucas Neal was what you'd call an average footballer, and that is simply because you're an idiot. He was rubbish. So in September of 2003, in a game between Blackburn and Liverpool, Lucas Neal executed an insanely late two-footed challenge on Jamie Carragher. Neal was rightly sent off and Carragher was mercifully carried off, but it did not end there. Years later, Carragher wrote about his next interactions with Lucas Neal in his book, and oh boy. Upon receiving a call from his friends saying that they spotted Lucas Neal in a Liverpool shopping mall, he detailed how he was seriously contemplating having the former Aussie defender jumped on by his friends as revenge. Jumped on. But ooh, the juice isn't over yet. No. Here are his reasons for not going through with the premeditated ambush. His friend Dave Thompson, who was now a teammate of Lucas Neal, was there too. Yes. Not because of the impact it'd have on Lucas Neal's family and loved ones, not because of the potential trauma it'd cause the bystanders who would have had to watch a man being attacked in public, not because it's illegal and you can potentially be locked up for years, but because he couldn't have one of his best friends witness such a thing. Always considerate is that, Jamie. It's simple. He basically tried to sound like a mysterious mafia don when in reality he just didn't have the balls to confront Lucas Neal by himself and therefore had to get his friends involved. And to be honest, if you were 16, that would be considered cool. But when you're a grown man with children of your own, you're pathetic. Truly pathetic. And that is that. Agree or disagree beats indifference. Once again, don't forget to like, comment, and wait. Actually, no. This time, if you do disagree, I'd rather you be indifferent. This lad's a disgrace. Nonetheless, once again, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And yes, subscribe. Till next time, keep rolling.